Nice, Ollie. I like it. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for the Washington Mystics and Las Vegas Aces. For the Mystics, they have really had to rely on their starters as they're just, so barren. Mitchell, Atkins, Hawkins, Hines, Allen, and Miesemann. And for Vegas, one player really stands out in that starting lineup. Lindsey Allen has been asked to lead the point guard duties and has done a very nice job doing so for Vegas. Here's A'ja Wilson, unable to hit. A rare miss from the mid-range, a little short, and Washington controls. Las Vegas has won 6 straight. Washington has lost 6 straight as a travel is called against Atkins. Good defense from Lindsey Allen.
You saw Atkins looking to be aggressive. She righted the ship a little bit in her last game. She'd been struggling to score, struggling to shoot, but coming off a big performance on Thursday night.
Here's McCautry using the screen from Swords. Sneaks it out to the corner. Now Wilson. Wilson raises up and connects.
I mean, she's just so poised and comfortable. What did you see? Catch, face, assess the defense, take her time, and then she still gets exactly what she wants.
In her 3rd season, as Rebecca talked about in the open, expanding that offensive repertoire. She has been incredible to begin this season. Leilani Mitchell, so deadly from 3. And the rebound taken by Miesemann. Hines Allen able to connect and take advantage of the second opportunity.
Yeah, you can't leave Hines Allen that wide open. Great job by her to nail it down.
You see the scoring improvement from Hines Allen from a season ago. Opportunity improvement for Hines Allen, a big reason why.
Yeah, and she sees the opportunity. Great job there. Tiana Hawkins will run the floor. That's what you know she will do, and beats the defense down for an easy couple for Washington.
The 5-2 start for the Mystics. Wilson unable to squeeze it in. It's tapped out of bounds by Vegas. Mike Thibault, the winningest head coach in WNBA history, now in his 8th season with the Mystics, coming off his first WNBA title a season ago. One of the things he said to us earlier in the week was, watching this team's defense, you miss LaToya Sanders. Said on a night-in, night-out basis, people forget what a huge part of our defense she was.
Well, Ryan, you mean we saw it last year during the WNBA Finals. There were times where she would start a defensive possession on the point guard as the center position, knowing that they were eventually going to switch, but she's the type of player who can switch out and can really lock down multiple positions.
And a whistle here will go against Leilani Mitchell. Bill Lambier leading the way for the Las Vegas Aces. Shaggy Bill still with the headband, still with the scruff.
You know Holly's going to have an update on that at some point.
I know she will, for sure. Well, the barbers they're coming. The stylists, they're open for business.
Appointments are filling up.
They are. Wilson in rhythm, a little short. And here comes Leilani Mitchell. Mitchell to leave, and Hines Allen just left it short, almost like she was confused how open she was.
I wonder if fatigue's playing a part for Vegas, because that's a couple possessions in a row now where Washington's been able to beat them down the floor. It's a couple possessions where A'ja Wilson has missed shots that she normally makes. This is like 8 games in 15 days or something ridiculous for Vegas.
And a noon start as well.
Yes.
McCautry fading away, can't get it to drop. And Vegas struggling to score in the early going against Washington. Emma Miesemann off on her 3, and McCautry takes the board. The Aces won the first meeting between these teams 83-77 as the blocking foul is called against Hawkins.
You know what Angel McCautry wants to do. She wants to push pace. So good in the open floor, especially there. She sees she has Hawkins on her. Hawkins' feet get caught up with Sword's feet, and Angel McCautry gets the foul called.
And McCautry's going to go to the line. It was on the drive. So that's why McCautry is shooting here.
And Vegas does that so well. They get to the free throw line, and it's been the great equalizer for them because they don't shoot a lot of threes. Most teams in the league do, they do not. But they make up for it by their frequent trips to the charity stripe.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Rebecca, that this Vegas team sort of inverts the way the league is going as far as style?
I was a post player, so I love it. I love that they absolutely look to go to their post. Nice shot by Ariel Atkins. They're a team that plays inside out. Their focus, as it should be, is on their post game because they have one of the best in the league in A'ja Wilson.
Here's McCautry getting the step and hanging for the finish.
How about A'ja McCautry? Still has that bounce coming back from her ACL injury a season ago. We got so used to her doing this for the Atlanta Dream, using her quickness, attacking the basket. Still got it.
Atkins gives it up. So does Hines Allen. Hawkins separates, left it short. Here comes McCautry, starting to catch a little bit of a rhythm. McCautry shimmies right, gets fouled and finishes. No whistle on the contact, but Angel McCautry does get the bucket.
And because Washington has gone with a big lineup, the matchup is Tiana Hawkins and Angel McCautry. And right now, Angel McCautry is the one who's been able to take advantage of that on that end of the floor. You see her here again, out in transition.
Oh yeah, she
running
got slapped on the wrist. And then this foul was called. I got to tell you, I think Angel has a better case than Leilani.
Yeah.
10-8, Washington in front as Mitchell completes the three-point play. Here is Allen. Allen working through the left side of the lane, able to pizza pie at home.
You hungry?
You know, you hold up a pizza pie just like that, don't you?
That's perfect. That's perfect.
But yes, I am also hungry. Here's Hawkins, guarded by Swords. Oh, Miesemann got the step, dips inside, and just spun it up short. A 10-10 game, nearly halfway through this opening quarter. Here's Jackie Young into the game for Vegas, using the Wilson screen. Wilson spinning, couldn't finish. A'ja Wilson just 1 of 5 to begin this game.
But she's getting all the shots that she wants to take. Normally those go down.
Ariel Atkins can't splash. And Wilson another rebound. Here's Allen being hawked by Atkins, and a foul called against Ariel Atkins, which will bring us to a timeout. 10-10 game early.
Lindsay Allen getting it finished inside. Pizza pie, Ryan, pizza pie.
ESPN's coverage of the WNBA is brought to you by AT&T 5G and Taco Bell. Order ahead and pick up your favorites at our contactless drive.
You got to rebound the basketball today, dominate the rebounds, and then go running. But get the ball first. Energy from the start, and all players coming in, and watch your turnovers.
Bill Laimbeer coach teams are always very good on the defensive end of the floor, and they have a couple principles that are obvious. One, they're going to defend the three. They do that better than any team in the WNBA. They do not put you at the free throw line. They defend without fouling, and then you hurt him in that wire. Rebound the basketball, not only because it doesn't give the other team second opportunities, but where Vegas flourishes is in their transition offense. That starts with the defensive board.
Bill Laimbeer has had a lot of success in this league as a head coach, as Swords can't get the jumper to drop. And this Aces team, a legitimate finals contender this season, despite not having Kelsey Plum or Liz Cambage.
They've got players who can come in off the bench and provide energy, and you see some of them in there right now. Danielle Robinson, De'Erica Hamby, Jackie Young.
The turnaround from Miesemann rolls off, and here is Danielle Robinson, who has really found a home here in Vegas. And a foul away from the ball against Maisha Hines-Allen.
You know, Ryan, we talked about at one end of the floor, A'ja Wilson getting the shots that she wants to get and typically making them. Same thing on the other end of the floor for Emma Meeseman. All the shots we've seen, whether it's the perimeter or the mid-range, are shots she will typically make.
Yeah, a rare 0 for 3 start for Meeseman, just like a rare 1 of 5 start for Wilson. As that floater drops for Kayla McBride. Bill Lambier told us yesterday, feels like McBride is coming around, worked her way into shape. Meeseman stops, leans, can't hit. Rebound, caroms over to Robinson. A 4-on-3, Robinson, nice find! And the foul called as Jackie Young will shoot 2.
This is the perfect example of what Vegas does. Rebound, push the pace, get to the free throw line.
And Vegas already in the bonus, so that obviously a shooting foul, but they will shoot free throws the rest of the way. Taking a look at the upcoming WNBA national TV schedule coming up next on ESPN. It's LA and Indiana. And then tonight on CBS Sportsnet, New York and Minnesota. For more on these games, please go to WNBA.com or visit the WNBA app. Well, you hope that Sylvia Fowles is all right, as Minnesota has had an incredible start to their season, but that's obviously an instrumental player for them.
Yeah, they've been navigating some injuries, Shanice Johnson being one. They now have Odyssey Sims back after giving birth in April. But yeah, Sylvia Fowles was their player playing, having an MVP start to her season.
A 10-3 Vegas run. Atkins dumps it in. Meeseman can't squeeze it home. Again, another look that you'd want if you're Washington.
All good looks.
Here's Young. Young stopped on a dime. Had it taken by Meeseman momentarily, and then Young wisely throws it off the foot of Emma Meeseman.
Because of the way Jackie Young has been playing in the last 4 games, what did you see? You saw a second defender go over to her. The first 5 games of the season, she was struggling. She would not have drawn extra attention.
Vegas a 4-point lead on Washington. You know, we've talked about what Washington is navigating and their lack of, key pieces here and the injuries they've dealt with. For more, let's check in with Holly Rowe inside the Wubble.
Well, guys, you know that Washington is already without some of their starters from last year's championship team, with Tina Charles, who is out with the medical opt-out. Elena Deladon is out, Natasha Cloud, and Latoya Sanders. But they have really hit a hard injury bump here in the bubble as well. Today, they are without Shea Petty. And also, one of their top scorers, Ariel Powers, continues to be out with a hip and hamstring injury. And, guys, they are down to just 8 players dressed right now. Kiara Leslie also out of this game today. She is in a boot on the sideline. So I talked to Coach. He said that Shea Petty has to miss 2 games before they could pick up an emergency player. They have already picked up 1 emergency player in Stella Johnson, but very difficult circumstances for Washington, and they got out to a pretty good start despite this shorthanded team.
And Ariel Powers was one of the players who, with more opportunity, had really been producing 16 points per game. She was shooting a pretty good percentage. She's the type of player who puts pressure on the defense because she can hit from deep and she can also drive. A huge miss right now for Washington to not have her in the lineup.
Mitchell can't squirm it in. Meeseman the offensive rebound. Another chance here for Washington. Sugar Rogers. Good D. And forcing Stella Johnson to step out of bounds as Washington turns it over. Well, the defense card certainly has been on display from the Aces so far in this first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard to score in the paint on Vegas. And as we said, they just clean everything up as soon as you shoot.
Good look. The right wing 3 is good from Sugar Rogers. On a beautiful delivery from Danielle Robinson.
Yeah, and a nice screen set by A'ja Wilson as well.
That's going to be an offensive foul as Leilani Mitchell pushed off.
You've got a shooter you set some flare screens for, and Essence Carson got around it, but not in time. That's what Sugar Rogers does. She's not going to drive to the basket. Sugar's going to shoot.
Eight-point Vegas lead. Oh, nice play. Hamby to the cutting Young for two. And now Vegas really in rhythm in this first. Here is Carson trying to find some space. The ace is smothering. Shot clock down to 3. Carson gets a much-needed 3 to go for Washington.
Washington still has players who can shoot the 3-ball. That was their identity a season ago, and that's what still makes them dangerous, even with the depleted roster.
Nice little shimmy there from Rogers. Got it into Hamby, just couldn't finish. 2-for-1 opportunity here for Washington. Mitchell tried to squeeze it into Miesemann, could not. Here comes Vegas in transition. De'Erica Hamby all the way in for 2 and executing the 2-for-1.
Yeah, De'Erica Hamby brings so much energy. That's your post player running the floor like that.
Here is Mitchell. Mitchell lobbing it into the arms of Wilson. Vegas could hold for 1, but they're on a break, so why not burn to the bucket?
You take quick shots and miss, or you turn the basketball over against Vegas, they will get out and run. So good end to end.
A 20-6 dash from the Las Vegas Aces as Hamby just pokes that out of bounds. .9 to go in this first. Mitchell gets it off at a good look, but left it short, and that will do it for the first. The Las Vegas Aces, a 24-13 lead after 1.
Welcome back here with Washington's Emma Miesemann, and they have gone on a little bit of a run. How can you guys get back in this ball game?
Starts in defense. We just have to get back in transition. That was one of the main things in our game plan, and we started out well and kind of lack focus right now. So I'm pretty sure we're back on it, running back, and then we see how the offense goes. Shot's gonna fall in, and we just have to keep going.
How hard is this right now with just 8 players that you guys have to really have some mental toughness?
I mean, it's like that. We can't use this as an excuse. The game is still going to happen, and they're not going to feel bad for us and play softer or something, so we just have to keep going.
Thank you, Emma.
You're right, it's hard. It's hard when your team is struggling and you come out into a game and miss shots early because you're trying to work your way through it. You know your roster's depleted. You don't have the same horses you normally would. And you're struggling, and in particular, when you don't shoot well, it can just continue to take the life out of you.
Jackie Young trying to find her way. Could not finish, but there's another example of what Holly was talking about in the open, Rebecca, and what we've seen this season from Jackie Young. Calling her own number, being aggressive offensively, something Bill Laimbeer has wanted from her for a while.
And that's born of confidence, and you can tell that she is starting to have her confidence, whereas Washington, because of what they've done the last 6, are struggling with it. The difference in points per game in particular, the field goal percentage, what we were just talking about, versus Vegas, who's got it rolling. Big shooting threes, littles drive into the basket. They look so good to me, Ryan. Vegas looks so good to me right now.
It's interesting because it's almost hard to imagine, whoa, how dominant could they be with Plum and Cam Beige as well?
Right.
And a whistle here. We'll keep it with Washington. Foul against Vegas.
De'Erica Hamby, the 6th woman of the year a season ago, brings so much energy off the bench, but also versatility. When you're big, can run the floor like we've seen and then step out and hit threes, watch out.
That one will roll in. 12-point game. Leilani Mitchell with 2 fouls. Ariel Atkins with 2 fouls. So Washington, as much as they're strapped already when it comes to depth, it's already being tested, Holly Rowe, early in this game.
Well, that's right. I want you to imagine that, you know, Stella Johnson is in this game having to play guard. Essence Carson bringing up the ball right now, but she's only been with the team for 3 days. She came over as an emergency pickup. She was with another team here in the bubble, got cut by Chicago, and now here she is having to play this major position. Her head must be spinning. Not too much, though. There's a nice three.
It's spinning in a good way right now.
Nicely done, Holly. But it's true. I mean, and part of the nature of this season, right? I mean, everybody having to be malleable to these unique circumstances. Some teams affected more than others as far as the actual composition of their roster goes. Asia Wilson burrows in and able to finish. Asia Wilson with 4 points, 3 rebounds. And how about this, Rebecca? 4 steals already in this game for Asia Wilson. That's left short. Carson got it back, denied by Wilson. Vegas with numbers. Washington slow to get back, and Jackie Young took it all the way in, just couldn't finish. Now it's Washington in transition as Carson lays it home. You talked about fatigue setting in. That looked like one of those transition opportunities where you may have seen it, and Bill Laimbeer wants to give his team a blow.
Yeah, he saw it too.
Timeout taken by Shaggy Bill.
Routine is everything.
Yes.
Okay, everything about professional athletes. When you sleep, when you eat, when you come out at the pregame, so you keep your rhythm, you keep your mental frame of mind going.
Yes.
Okay, you're a little off right now. You got to find it.
All right.
Okay? Don't force things. You don't have to. We have plenty of scores.
Routine gives you a comfort level. You know, you just feel like I've done this before. I'm going to get in my groove. And he's just telling Asia, don't force things. You know, let it come to you, because when it comes to you, it's always good.
Love that connection.
And spoken by only somebody who has lived the life himself, right?
Yeah.
As a former player.
Niesemann, they're going to count it for now, but we'll see whether or not that was after the shot clock expired. McCautry and Wilson. Yeah, that's a pretty nice 2-woman game. Wilson will go to the line.
Yeah, pick your poison when you're defending that, right?
Boy, Asia Wilson is so impressive. Magnetic personality, incredibly smart, expanding her game. Asia Wilson, this is going to be one of the faces of this league for a long, long time.
Yeah, without question. As long as she stays healthy, without question. I mean, when we were talking to Bill Laimbeer earlier, and he said, you know, she was unstoppable off the bounce. And so what did she need to add? A mid-range jumper. And
Yep.
she's done that. And he said the next step for her is going to be getting in the post, demanding the basketball, and finishing there. But this is not a young woman who's just rested on having a great rookie year. She continues to get better and add things to her game.
Let's check in with Holly Rowe.
Well, you guys saw Bill Laimbeer really being honest with Asia Wilson in that wired sound, like you're off your rhythm, be patient. One of the reasons that they really trust Bill Laimbeer is that a lot of these players watched the Last Dance documentary over the pandemic, and they really got to see their coach again as a player. Like, he was one of the baddest bad boys out there, winning NBA championships and such a key part of a team, and had a number of the players say, like, man, we know he was great, but it just helped to remind us watching that Last Dance documentary that he played at the highest level and knows exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, those kind of things can help, right?
Yeah, without question. You know that person's lived the life. They've lived the experience that you are going through. It's a different way to relate and to communicate with a coach.
Watch The Last Dance, watch the Bad Boys documentary, 30 for 30. Hamby with a hand in her face, couldn't get it to go. Wow, McBride up with it so quickly on the putback. Hawkins able to hit from 3, and that's what Washington needs if they're going to stick around.
And that was the thing with Washington in their last game against LA, is they were able to stay attached, even though they were struggling at times, and LA was able to score. Washington was still able to keep the game within 12 or 15 throughout the course of it.
Wide open. That jumper is short, but the rebound caroms out to Miesemann. Mitchell gets a good clean look. Can't finish. 12-point Las Vegas lead. Very well distributed scoring right now from Vegas. Hamby leads the way with 8. Here's Wilson. Yeah, that's too easy for A'ja Wilson.
How about the hesitation when she first caught it? Most post players would either go or shoot. She hesitated long enough to get the advantage on the defender.
8 points now for A'ja Wilson, who's hit 3 straight shots. That 3 too long. Rebound taken by Allen. McCautry flips it out. Hamby very patient, finds Wilson, the jab step, and a little short on the jumper.
But that's her area of the floor. That's where she can really operate.
And a foul is called against Wilson. That will be her second.
All right, this is what I'm talking about. As soon as A'ja Wilson catches, just a quick, assess the situation, see there's a help defender on the right side. You can't go that way, but there's room to go. Emma Miesemann leans, A'ja Wilson is gone.
Wilson very upset with that last foul call, her second, with 3:31 to go in this second quarter. Yeah, I mean, there's an incredible level of savvy and finesse in the handle as well from A'ja Wilson in the interior. As Wilson will check out for Las Vegas. No need to risk a third foul right now if you're Vegas. And both free throws good for Mitchell. It's Hamby, Lindsay Allen, Swords, McBride, and Angel McCautry for Vegas. Hawkins, Miesemann, Hines, Allen, Atkins, and Mitchell for Washington. That's their starting 5. A little bit too tall, the pass for McBride. Nice little give and go in transition, and Hines Allen able to finish for Washington.
How about Vegas? Well, 17 minutes into the game, that's their first turnover.
Pretty amazing. McBride off on a 3, and it's out of bounds to Washington.
Timeout Washington, the 3:03 remaining in the first half of
3:03 to go in this second quarter. Las Vegas a 10-point lead. A'ja Wilson showing off the footwork. Coming up right here on ESPN, Candace Parker and the Sparks square off against Kelsey Mitchell and the Fever. That's our second game of our doubleheader today on ESPN.
I'm eager to watch the backcourt matchup in that game. Kelsey Mitchell has been terrific for Indiana. Tiffany Mitchell playing well. LA's figured out their backcourt rotations. It's going to be fun.
Hines Allen with Mitchell. 7 to shoot. Hines Allen's 3, too strong. Miesemann got a hand on it, and that hand and effort will earn her a loose ball foul against Vegas. As Washington will have a side out of bounds. That's the 3rd team foul against Vegas.
It's been interesting talking to Mike Thibault in terms of the way his team has played. You know, the 3 wins early and then their struggles of late. And he said, you know, we're not as good as we played in those 3 games early and the results of that, but we're not as bad as we've been showing lately either. You know, the team kind of has to find their medium as they work through these injuries and figure out who's going to provide the scoring, and those 2 are going to be a big piece of it, Ariel Atkins and Maisha Hines Allen.
Hines Allen unable to finish there on a nice setup from Atkins. McBride gives it up. Hamby, nice find. And Danielle Robinson couldn't finish, but did get the foul call. as Danielle Robinson will shoot 2.
That's a look on my face too, Maisha. I didn't think Danielle Robinson got hit, but we've seen it a couple times now with Vegas and the overplay of Washington's defense, getting backdoor cuts and going to the basket. There's nothing.
Maybe her right hip at the end, maybe.
Maybe.
Not a lot.
No.
Not a lot.
But the bigger issue for Washington's defense is that Vegas has been able to backdoor them a couple times. You got to figure out your overplay or get the help side defender there a little bit quicker.
Robinson, a 3-time All-Star.
This has been a great system for Danielle Robinson.
Yeah, it was interesting hearing Bill Laimbeer talk about that with us yesterday. Just her understanding her role within this team to push the ball and how that is what she wants to do and can thrive at.
This is a system that fits perfectly her skill set. She is so good and so comfortable pushing the pace, one of the quicker guards in the league, and that's all they want from her. They don't want her to get out there and shoot three-point shots, which has never been her strength. They just want her to do what she does, and especially a veteran player, that's where you want to be. It's a comfort level. Just play to your strengths.
And they want her pressuring on D as well. And she's been able to do so with Vegas as that pass. Karem's out of bounds and a third try for Washington. Robinson getting in the mix.
She's got some big performances too. 20-point games. Like, she's been able to be an effective scorer just playing to those strengths.
That's out of bounds. It'll stay with Washington. 4 to shoot. And
he's over there with the wrong angle.
Bill Laimbeer thought that should have been out of bounds off of Washington. I understand why he felt that way. It almost looked like Leilani Mitchell just dribbled it out if there wasn't a foul call against Swords. Nonetheless, Vegas ends up with a miss and a rebound. Here's Young. Hamby again. Robinson cut back door, but that time some help from Hawkins, who then throws it away.
And defensively, Leilani Mitchell, of course, you want to put pressure on your player, but Danielle Robinson does not shoot the 3-ball well. Never has throughout the course of her career, so you don't need to overplay as much to give her that backdoor cut.
Vegas, a 12-2 advantage in points off turnovers. Just 2 turnovers from Vegas in this first half compared to 9 from Washington.
Like, Ryan, I wouldn't overplay you. I'd give you the 3. I wouldn't give you the backdoor cut.
That's a good move, and you have an accurate scouting report. Although, you know, during my days of Fordham pickup, I like to shoot from downtown, talk a little trash. That was in the repertoire. That's going to be the 3rd foul on Tiana Hawkins. So she goes right to the bench for Washington. And that is a 10th turnover for the Mystics in this first half. Rogers gives it up. Hamby unable to hit. Good box out from Hines Allen to secure the rebound for Washington.
Now, Sugar Rogers, you overplay.
She is that threat from 3.
She is. She's a sniper.
Loose ball, another turnover from the Mystics. They're 11th this half. Here comes Rogers, 2-for-1 opportunity for Vegas. Will they get to it? Doesn't look like it. Instead, Robinson's going to reset, try and make it a good one here. Swords with 2 to shoot, leans in, can't get the roll. The bench wanted it for Carolyn Swords. Anytime she gets a shot, they are anticipating celebrating.
Yeah, especially with a spin dribble. That's out of her comfort zone.
Good hands. 1.6 seconds to go in this quarter. We're going to step aside for a moment. Coming up, the State Farm halftime show. LaChina Robinson hanging out in studio. Not only will she take us around the WNBA, but she has some NBA news, diving deeper into the dismissal of Alvin Gentry. Woj just reporting that news, and LaChina Robinson will have more on the Pelicans head coach being dismissed. So plenty to come on the State Farm halftime. 1.6 seconds to go in this second quarter, and the officials are reviewing something.
I love when you really give us the hard-hitting info.
Sometimes we like to take you behind the curtain, and behind the curtain, we weren't sure. No, Emma Miesemann, they were trying to see whether or not a shot from her was good. So they were looking at that Emma Miesemann jumper from earlier in the quarter, whether or not it beat the shot clock. Bucket stands, 1.6 to go. Hines Allen unable to hit, and that will do it for the first half. Vegas a 43-31 lead after 2 quarters of action. The Erica Hamby, Danielle Robinson, and the Aces with the double-digit lead. In Bradenton, Florida, getting ready to start the third quarter of action between the Vegas Aces and the Washington Mystics. A 43-31 lead for Vegas as we welcome you inside our studios. Ryan Ruocco alongside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. You know, Vegas won 6 straight entering this game. You've talked about it a lot, Rebecca. Their ability to get out and run, and they've taken advantage of Washington's turnovers in this game doing so.
Yeah, Vegas is a team. Their defense fuels their offense. Whether it's on a missed shot or off of a turnover, they will get out and run, and we were able to see that in the first half. 11 turnovers for Washington. Look at how quickly, end to end, they get down the floor to score. Erica Hamby, that's your big running the floor. Steal by A'ja Wilson, leading the break. Pass one more time. Just beautiful stuff in transition for the Vegas Aces.
Well, you see the stats from that first half, the +10 advantage for Vegas in points off turnovers. For more on the Aces defense, let's check inside the wubble with Holly Rowe.
Well, Ryan and Rebecca, you're absolutely right. The Las Vegas Aces players told me that they're starting to find their identity this season, and it is based in defense. That is a hallmark of Bill Laimbeer in his coaching career over 16 years in the WNBA, all the way back to the Detroit Shock, the New York Liberty. Their ability to limit teams' field goal percentage defense has been impactful. They have led the league over half the time in his career in field goal percentage defense, and this year is no different. They are making it very difficult, just 33% for Washington in the first half.
They're going to play the percentages. You know, they're going to take you away from the three-point line. They want to force you into mid-range jump shots. And then it helps when they have players like Angel McCoughtry who can drain them from the perimeter.
McCoughtry, 9 points, played just 7 minutes in that first half. That's something Bill Laimbeer spoke to us about yesterday, saying the great thing with Angel is, you know, they don't need her to play huge minutes. She plays best in spurts. They can take her for 3-4 minutes at a time and let her get a blow.
And she doesn't have to force things on the offensive end of the floor. She can let the game come to her a little bit more. In her career, Angel's a 29% three-point shooter. She's over 50% on the season, not forcing things.
Nice find. A'ja Wilson to Lindsey Allen for the leg.
Lindsey Allen and Danielle Robinson have done a really nice job splitting the minutes at the lead guard position. Each one of them brings something different to the floor.
Allen squeezes it over to Wilson, forced it up, couldn't get it to drop. Lonnie Mitchell might have gotten away with a walk there. Mitchell might have gotten away with a walk twice now. And she's rewarded with a 3. I'm sure that made Bill Laimbeer real happy.
It sure made Mike Tebow happy.
Here's Wilson. Nice little rhythm dribble to separate and finish.
And the reverse pivot, she's got tremendous footwork.
Here's Atkins. Her jumper is smooth. Ariel Atkins has been a bright spot for Washington, averaging over 14 points per game, 49% shooting, 54% from three this year. Wilson putting it on the deck through traffic. A little bit of a force there from Asia Wilson. Here comes Washington. Atkins from three, not that time, and it's out of bounds off of Swords.
We came into the game talking about Asia Wilson as a MVP candidate. Head up. Vegas plays through the high post so much because they have bigs who can pass, and then the phenomenal footwork on the step back from Asia Wilson.
For more on Asia, here's Holly.
Well, there's a reason she has that beautiful footwork. This is a woman who is dancing everywhere she goes, every second of the day. She actually took dancing lessons when she was a kid. She was in a ballet class for a while. Yes, we have some tutu pictures, Asia Wilson. But she really does credit it. She's like, when my feet hit the ground, I feel steady, I feel solid. She has had some ankle injuries, but her feet are good.
That's an awesome story, Holly, and it makes sense.
When you have bigs who have not only good hands, but really good feet, watch out. And Asia Wilson has that. She can face up well. She can reverse pivot really well.
What we really need now is a whistle so that we can see Asia in dancing form.
Yes, we do.
Nice take. Leilani Mitchell setting up Hawkins for the layup.
Yeah, Mike Thibault saying this past week he wanted Leilani Mitchell and talked to her about being more aggressive, looking for her own shot. And we saw that a couple possessions ago when she hit the three. And what does that do? Extends the defense, and you can drop dimes to your teammates.
Well, Angel McCaughtry, speaking of those 3 or 4 minute spurts, applied the foul, goes and gets a rest, and gives us a chance to check out some dance moves from Asia Wilson. Yeah, ballerina style there. Wow, like a figure skater. Fantastic.
She looks like a tired figure skater right there.
Yeah.
Isn't she right?
Needs a little break. Needs some other contestants to go before she returns again to the ice. Hines Allen will take and can't hit. Danielle Robinson leading the break for Vegas. Young was calling for it. Robinson was trying to get her to come back. Now here is Young. Smush between three. Flips it up and in. Jackie Young with a little David Blaine for the bucket.
The smush and the finish. She's drawing a lot more attention now that she's been scoring the way she has, Jackie Young.
Emma Mieseman, good hands on the steal. And Washington will take a timeout. Vegas, a 16-point lead, seeking their 7th straight victory. It all comes down to the Western Conference play-in. The Trailblazers are the 8th seed and only need to win one of 2 possible games to keep the last playoff spot. But if they don't, the Grizzlies would get that final spot and play the Lakers in the first round. We'll have the first game today, 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific on ABC and the ESPN app, with our coverage beginning at 2 with NBA Countdown. Incredible what Damian Lillard has been able to do for the Blazers. Just a classic game against Brooklyn a couple nights ago for Portland to punch their ticket into this play-in against Memphis.
Last week he was a guest on Asia Wilson and Nafisa Collier's podcast.
That's right, and you know Holly Rowe has more on that.
Well, guys, just think about how busy Damian Lillard has been. Absolutely busy. But he took time yesterday to jump on with Asia Wilson and Nafisa Collier to their WNBA T with A and Fee podcast. It is fantastic. He was so good, so gracious. They have had top-notch guests so far. Kevin Durant, Elena Delle Donne, Damian Lillard. I mean, the sky is the limit. And he took time out of his busy schedule, scoring, 51 points a game casually. No big deals. 56% from the field. And I'm just very proud to say he went to Utah, or to Weber State in Utah, where I'm from. So we've been watching Dame's game for a long, long time.
Oh, yeah, and he has such love for that area, Holly, as you well know, calling a Portland-Utah game earlier this year. And Damian Lillard just raving about Johnny Bryant and assistant coach on the Utah staff, player development, and how impactful he was for his career, and just the love he gets when he is back in Utah and that connection with Weber State. But yeah, he's just, you love him. He's just got this great personality, and he is such a star. And he's just a winner. You know, he has that mentality of a guy who wants the pressure, who wants the smoke, and also is very dedicated to the Portland franchise.
Yeah, certainly delivering 50 over 50 points a game. That's good.
Swords at the line to shoot 2. Now, many of you are familiar by now with the story of Swords being on the Aces this season, but for those of you who aren't, it bears repeating that Carolyn Swords had retired and joined the Aces front office. But when the Aces were dealt with having to make some cuts, Bill Laimbeer had to go to her and say, hey, this position is no longer available right now. Well, shortly after that, all of a sudden, no Liz Cambage, no Jisoo Park, and the Aces needed a big. They went back to Carolyn Swords and said, hey, would you like to play? I know you were done and you were in our front office, but we can actually use you on the floor. As Young finishes plus the foul, three-point play opportunity for Jackie Young. Carolyn says, sure. So she is back in uniform for the Vegas Aces.
And you know what you're going to get from her night in and night out, a big presence inside. She starts for the Vegas Aces. She's leading them in offensive rebounds per game. She will defend, a big body inside. Pretty much exactly what Bill Laimbeer needed from his big player.
And you guys really think about this, like she mentally thought she was done with basketball. She thought she had retired, and she had still kept herself in shape, though. She said, I was running and doing a lot of Pilates, so I had a base level of being in shape and some fitness, but getting back into basketball shape is a totally different story. And huge credit to Carolyn Swords, not only mentally, but physically being willing to take on this challenge to rejoin her team after she had said she was all done. I just give her a lot of credit. I don't think it's easy what she's been doing this season, and she's been very effective doing it.
Yeah, I totally agree, Holly. Not easy at all, physically or mentally, and she's playing 18 minutes a game. It's not like she's just, you know, there in case they need someone to play.
Yeah, productive 18 minutes starting the games.
Yeah, incredible. 20-point Vegas lead. Jackie Young unable to spin it in. But we've seen again that aggression from Young. Two bodies down in the backcourt after a collision. Washington and Vegas. And it was Swords who I believe got locked up with Hawkins. And Swords a little shaken up as she goes to the bench. You could see the collision there from Hawkins and Swords. Just sort of
knee on knee.
Not looking at each other as they were running by.
That hurts. When somebody else's knee runs into either your kneecap or your thigh.
Miesemann, guarded by Hamby. Nice find, Emma Miesemann to Mitchell, who could not finish. Here comes Young. Young, surveying. Hamby draws two, passes out of it. Young's floater is good. The added offense of Jackie Young.
It's just so fun to watch a player playing with the type of confidence you know they need. Jackie Young didn't have it early in the season. Since the conversations with Bill Laimbeer, certainly has it now. Tiana Hawkins, though, seems like a couple times this game when Vegas has been on a run, she's been able to drain a three to quiet him a little bit.
She is the leading scorer for Washington with 9 points. Hamby had it poked away by Miesemann. Good hustle by Carson, but then she gave it back to Vegas. Wilson tried to work through a lot of contact there on the block. No fouls called, no buckets made. Here comes Washington. Hawkins, another try from three. That one is short. Out of bounds to Vegas. Hey, fans can cheer on their team using Tap to Cheer in the WNBA app. Mystics and Aces fans already have 559,079 total taps for this game. And the team with the most taps at the end of the game wins. Go to WNBA.com to check the leaderboard and see how your team stacks up against the rest of the league.
It's easy. Just open the app. It's easy. It's right in front of you. Easy to tap. Tap, tap, tap.
Open the app and tap? No. Foul against Myisha Hines-Allen as she came through the back of A'ja Wilson. And that'll be the third team foul against Washington, their first in the final 2 minutes. So side out of bounds here for Vegas. Vegas has gotten 10 points from Jackie Young, 10 from A'ja Wilson, 11 from Angel McCautry. Young using the Wilson screen. 3 to shoot. Young with 2 to shoot. Has to put it up. Did not get it off in time. And a rare turnover in this game for Vegas. Just their 6th.
But credit Emma Miesemann. She just got in her stance against a smaller, quicker guard and was able to keep her in front of her.
This Washington team started off 3-0. Now has lost 6 straight. The first team in WNBA history to start a season on a winning streak of 3 or more games and then lose at least 4 straight directly following that winning streak. But a very compromised roster for Washington coming into this season, and then more injuries that followed as Carson can't finish. Got a 15-second difference, game and shot clock. Hines-Allen cutting through, got fouled. And Myisha Hines-Allen will shoot 2.
It's interesting talking to Mike Thibault. He said it's going to give these players a much different respect and appreciation, different perspective. Myisha Hines-Allen, Ariel Atkins, Emma Miesemann, of what it's like to be Elena Delle Donne out on the floor when you're the focus of all the defenses. And now that they're getting more defensive attention, they've got more of the weight on them as a starter, you know, relied upon to give heavy minutes and to provide scoring. It's a different role than the one they were accustomed to coming off the bench last year.
And in a season where there's just not that much rest.
Yeah.
That could take a toll quickly. 7 seconds left in the quarter. And a foul against Washington. Away from the ball. They are now over the limit. So free throws coming here for A'ja Wilson.
Fouls on number 4, Stella Johnson. Her third, second team foul, under 2, and an ultimate.
Wilson, 2 of 2 from the line so far today. Let's take a look at the upcoming WNBA national TV schedule. Coming up next on ESPN, second game of our doubleheader, LA and Indiana. CBS Sportsnet tonight, New York and Minnesota. For more on these games, go to WNBA.com or visit the WNBA app. Wilson hits both. Carson with 1 second left, got it off, but could not finish. And that will do it for the third. A 19-point Aces lead after 3. A'ja Wilson, Angel McCautry, and Jackie Young all in double figures to lead the way for Vegas.
Welcome back here with the Las Vegas Aces, A'ja Wilson. And A'ja, there was an interesting moment in the first half where Bill Laimbeer said, take your time, be more patient, you weren't in a rhythm. How do you listen to him and enact that? You scored 6 straight points after that.
I mean, it's just honestly letting the game come to me. At the end of the day, it might not be your night, it might not be anybody's night, but my teammates are doing great with handling all this pressure, and we're up, so I really can't complain. I'm blessed to be in a franchise like this that they can pick me up when times are down. So when you have someone like Bill who's always for you, can't really complain.
You guys are in a tough stretch, game after game, every other day. I know you're tired right now, A'ja, but how can you fight through the rest of this game?
I don't know. It just goes with a prayer, and pretty much my mama's probably praying on her knees right now. So that's it. I'm bruised up, I'm tired, but at the end of the day, we're here for something that's bigger than us, and that's what pushes me through.
Perfect. Thank you, A'ja.
I love that answer.
And they've got, nobody plays on Monday this week in the WNBA, so these Vegas players, all the teams playing today have tomorrow and Monday off. 2 whole days before their next game.
Incredible. Meanwhile, all the teams playing on Sunday are like, oh, man. There's started to be some safely guided excursions, too, for these teams on off days. That'll tilt out of bounds. A shot clock violation against Washington. 16th turnover for Washington. And look, the Mystics are trying to navigate a season without so many essential pieces. I mean, you don't have the MVP, Elena Delle Donne. You don't have LaToya Sanders. You don't have Natasha Cloud. You don't have Tina Charles. Those are big, big pieces to this group. And now also the injury to Ariel Powers is a big one. Ariel Powers was off to a terrific start for the Mystics, a big part of them winning their first 3 to begin the season.
And we have been talking since the beginning of the season how important depth is because of the schedule that we were just talking about, playing every other day. And for Washington to be down to 8 players, it's just really hard to navigate the minutes and making sure the players you do have are fresh.
A 22-point Vegas lead. Vegas has shown the depth and completeness of this roster within this game, as Hamby, one of those players coming off the bench, spins into double figures. She now has 10 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists.
Getting the pass from the other post player, Asia Wilson, up high. We talked to Bill Lambier about that yesterday and his style of play, how it kind of goes against what most people in the basketball world are doing. As you see Essence Carson hit the pull-up jumper. And most people are going small ball, everybody's shooting threes. No, Vegas Ace is old school, and it's because they have such talented posts. They are going to play inside out.
Wilson shovels it out. Young, her jumper is smooth. Jackie Young, the former #1 pick, really blossoming here in her second year in the league.
Another way they're old school. Bill Lambier encourages the mid-range pull-up jumper from Jackie Young because that's her game.
Look at Young coming up with a steal. Young running the break. Good hands by Carson, able to take it away. Hawkins flips it underneath, and the rejection initially from Rogers, but then the follow is good for Elena Coates. Will step aside. 22-point Vegas lead.
This copyrighted telecast of WNBA Enterprises may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise used in any form without the express written consent of WNBA Enterprises.
Stops and rebounds is where this is at right now, right? Run them, but take care of the ball. There's no reason to try to make that pass. None. All you do is turn it up. They were going to call timeout. We're going to come down. We're going to either get that layup or do whatever, score. They're going to call timeout. We gave them an excuse. Can't happen when we're trying to go 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. That's how you wear teams down. You don't go for the home run balls.
I mean, just so interesting. With Bill Lambier, he's talked about it. I'm going to play the percentages, take care of the basketball, rebound the basketball. Don't go for the home run play. Don't worry about getting the 3 ball 2 by 2. And they certainly have worn teams down during the 6-game win streak.
Incredible defense. And their longest winning streak since 2018. But you see, I mean, they have held teams to 43% shooting from the floor, 26 from 3. As Coates puts that in, plus the foul. Chance for Elena Coates to complete the 3-point play.
And as these teams are approaching the halfway point of the season, which is crazy to say because it's only been a couple of weeks, but it's only a 22-game regular season, I feel like just now we're starting to see a little of the separation of the teams that have the best chance to make the playoff push and a championship push. Seattle, obviously at the top of that. They're playing great basketball. Vegas has looked really good in this stretch. The LA Sparks are figuring things out, and then the question becomes, all right, what's Chicago going to do? What's Phoenix going to be like as they learn to play without Taurasi? It's starting to take shape.
I can see it's getting you excited, partner.
It is.
That three won't drop. Coates, another bucket on the inside. Elena Coates has given Washington some nice minutes here in this fourth quarter with 6 points now. Want to remind you, we have another game coming up with Candace Parker at LA taking on Indiana as Hamby cuts through for the layup. Indiana has played maybe surprisingly well to start this season. And LA, one of those teams Rebecca was just talking about, finding their way in the mix to be a contender. By the way, Holly lets us know that Carolyn Swords left quad contusion, will not return after that collision with Hawkins. And that is going to be a foul against Vegas, an offensive foul. As you see, Carolyn Swords, already a job well done today with 7 rebounds in her 18 minutes. Interestingly, Washington has won the battle on the glass in this game. They're a +9, something you don't usually see against Vegas.
Yeah.
A free release to the rim for Stella Johnson.
Somebody was mixed up on what the defensive coverage was supposed to be on that possession.
And somebody will find out from Bill Lambier later. Rogers' three is good. Sugar Rogers, so dangerous from deep.
How about her? She's had quite a day from behind the line. 4 of 5 from 3 for Sugar Rogers.
Mitchell, yeah, she's a dead-eye shooter from deep as well. 18-point Vegas lead, 4 minutes to go in this fourth. And the pass thrown away. Atkins on the steal. Will take it all the way in and lay it home. .345 to go. 16-point Vegas lead. And that's going to be an offensive foul. Megan Huff trying to feel her way with these minutes she's getting in this fourth.
The Aces returning number 5, De'Erica.
And Huff will check out. De'Erica Hamby coming back in for Vegas.
Yeah, Huff started the season with the Minnesota Lynx. They cut her and she was quickly picked up by Vegas. So she has not been with the team for very long. I think it might have been her on the other end defensively who had some miscommunication with the defensive coverage. So.
Oh, what a feed! Robinson, and then the touch feed from Burdick to Hamby. Outstanding transition opportunity from Vegas.
We've seen all game long Vegas having success in transition. This is an unselfish team. Someone more open than you, you give them the basketball, and the bigs continue to run the floor.
What a heads-up play by Burdick after the bullet feed from Robinson. As Atkins hits the three, 15-point Vegas lead. Ariel Atkins now has made a 3 in every game this season for Washington. Shooting it at 53% from deep entering this game. Nice spin from Young, able to finish. Jackie Young with 14 points off the bench for Vegas. Emma Miesman directing traffic. Atkins on the attack. Her leaner rolls in. Nice take from Ariel Atkins, who now has 15 points.
Yeah, she's had a lot of points here in the fourth quarter.
Young passes on the three. Instead, that mid-range where she's so comfortable.
She was glad Leilani Mitchell ran her off the line. She doesn't want to be on the line. She wants to get a step inside.
16 for Young. Coates, another finish inside from Elena Coates, who has 8 points in the quarter. Timeout on the floor, 1:59 to go. Vegas by 15.
ESPN's coverage of the WNBA is brought to you by AT&T 5G and Taco Bell. Order ahead and pick up your favorites at our contactless drive-thru.
Well, Candace Parker, an MVP candidate once again. Her and the LA Sparks taking on the Indiana Fever. That's coming up next following the conclusion of the Aces and the Mystics. If necessary, the Trailblazers and Grizzlies will square off again tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app for the final playoff spot in the Western Conference and a first-round matchup with LeBron and the Lakers. Our play-in coverage would begin at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific with NBA Countdown. Now, that game happens if Memphis wins today against Portland. If Portland wins, that's it for the play-in, and they punch their ticket to face the Lakers in the first round.
Brings you back to the day.
Yeah.
Double elimination,
You
right?
like that, right? Winners brackets and losers brackets.
Yeah.
Robinson gives it up. That jumper rolls in for Sierra Burdick. .130 to go in what is going to be the 7th straight victory for Las Vegas. Hawkins flips it out. Robinson, good hands on the steal and able to finish on the move. Vegas a plus 18 in the paint in this game. Hawkins lines up the three, left it short. Inside of a minute to go. Hines Allen, nice touch on the inside. 9.7 rebounds for Aisha Hines Allen, although just 3 of 10 from the floor in this game.
Aisha Hines Allen still, though, has been a real bright spot for Washington this season. In limited minutes a year ago, a much different role this year, and she's embraced it and succeeded in most of the games early on here.
Same thing for Ariel Atkins, who draws her way to the line and will shoot too.
What a different role for Ariel Atkins last year alongside Natasha Cloud, alongside Elena Deladon, and this season the only starter from a year ago who was playing for the team now becomes the focus of the opposing team's energy and efforts on the defensive end.
Atkins hits both. A 15-point game, about a 1-second difference game and shot clock. The Aces can more or less wind this down if they want. Instead, they're going to run a play and throw it out of bounds. Actually, the 9th turnover of the second half for Las Vegas. They turned it over just twice in the first half.
Yeah, much sloppier in the second than the first.
And now Washington will let the clock wind. A 7th straight victory for the Las Vegas Aces and a 7th straight loss for the Washington Mystics. 88-73 the final as Bill Lambier's team continues its recent stretch of suffocating defense. Angel McCautry, they needed for just 12 minutes in this game. Asia Wilson, just 24. Big play off the bench from Jackie Young, who had 16. The Erica Hamby, who had 14.